So if you're a founder, you know this feeling, right? You're constantly pushing, creating, posting, trying to be visible, and all you get back is silence. It's like shouting into a void. You're putting in all this work, but nothing's connecting. Well, in this explainer, we're going to break down exactly why that's happening, and more importantly, how to fix the engine that's supposed to be driving your message.
Does that sound familiar? I mean, you're doing everything right. You're consistent, you're following all the rules, but that connection, it just isn't there. Your audience isn't growing, the engagement is totally flat, and honestly, you feel unseen in your own work. It's a super frustrating place to be, and I promise you, you are not alone in feeling this way.
And here's the crucial mind shift we need to make. This is not a problem of effort. It has nothing to do with posting more or trying harder. The problem goes way deeper. It's actually in the foundation, the very architecture of how you communicate. Okay, so what is that flaw in the architecture? Well, the biggest one has a name, and we call it the management tax. This is the hidden cost, the secret barrier that's absolutely undermining your ability to connect with the very people you're trying to reach. Here's how to think about it. Every single time you soften a rough edge on a story, or you remove a detail that feels a little too revealing, or you polish something until it feels safe, you pay a tax, and you pay that tax with resonance. You're basically stripping out all the good stuff, all the raw humanity that actually makes people feel something. And this really shows you the choice you're making every time you post. A managed story, it's all about performance. It feels safe, but deep down, it doesn't feel true. On the other hand, an honest story, that's about connection. It reveals something real, and that's what lands with resonance. And let's be honest, connection is the currency we're really after here. Okay, so that's the problem. How do we actually stop paying this tax? Well, let's dig into a real-life example. We're going to look at a specific moment, not as some personal failure, but as a strategic piece of data, a really high-leverage one. And this quote just nails it, right? The stories we instinctively try to hide or manage away, those are often the most powerful assets we have. That fear you feel, that's actually a signal for how much connection is possible on the other side of it. So let's talk about this founder. Her situation is probably going to sound really familiar. She was posting all the time, doing everything she was supposed to do. Her content looked polished, but it just didn't sound like her. And because of that, nothing was landing. She felt completely invisible. So we asked her to find a moment that felt real, something that carried some actual weight. And this is what she described: coming home one night just completely exhausted and slumping down on the kitchen floor to cry. It wasn't some huge, dramatic catastrophe. It was just quiet, ordinary, and unbelievably human. That is our data point. So what's the real story here? What's the insight locked inside that moment? The story isn't actually about being tired or about a business problem. It's about that raw, universal feeling of being completely unseen, even in your own life. And that's an emotion that pretty much everyone in our audience gets instantly. And you know what happened? When she finally shared that moment, simply without trying to pretty it up or justify it, the response was incredible. And this is so important. People didn't pity her. They connected with her. They saw themselves in her story. They offered connection, not sympathy. And for the very first time, she felt understood. Look, this isn't just a feel-good story. It's actually a repeatable strategy. It's a framework we can all use to build a new kind of architecture, an architecture of trust. We call it the Ordinary Truth Protocol. And here's the big idea behind it. We think we build connection by sharing our wins, our highlight reels. But that's not where the real magic is. True, lasting connection is built on the quiet courage to share the human truths we've been taught to manage away. And the protocol itself? It's actually super simple, just 3 steps. First, identify a truth you've been managing, a story you've been softening. Second, name the core, raw emotion at the center of it, like feeling unseen in our example. And finally, share the moment simply. Just let the truth do the work. No performance necessary. Okay, so what this all boils down to is a choice. A really fundamental choice you have to make about how you show up and build your brand. It's a choice between 2 totally different ways of operating. Just look at the 2 paths here. On one side, you've got polished performance. You post content, you manage perceptions, you seek approval. It feels safe. But on the other side, you have resonant presence. You tell stories, you reveal truths, you create connection. It doesn't just feel safe, it feels real. That's the choice you're making with every single post.
So if there's one thing to walk away with, it's this. Honesty isn't a vulnerability. It's a strategy. In fact, it's the only sustainable strategy for building a brand that people feel, connect with, and actually genuinely trust. Now, making this shift from performance to presence, it's a process, for sure. It takes real courage. But when you're ready to stop paying that management tax and start building a brand that truly connects, well, there's a whole new architecture for your storytelling waiting for you. It really is the logical next step. So I want to leave you with this question. Right now, think about it. What's that one story, that one feeling, that one quiet moment that you've been softening, polishing, or just plain hiding? That's not your weakness. That, right there, that's your starting point.